Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Rebirth monthly look at January 2024. I've decided to do these monthly tune ins as a part of the beginning of my process with Rebirth, which is devoted to the soul of the Pluto work and our becoming the love that we are meant to be here in the world. And so, with that, I'm going to share with you some of the main transits of the year, of the month, particularly of this month of January 2024, and also talk about, um, some of the main themes, in addition to giving a little bit of guidance and wisdom for the month ahead. This is offered totally freely. And again, you can join me in Rebirth on a monthly basis to do the deeper work together. You can also join me in the new moon ceremony on a monthly basis where we pray and we practice together with the light of the first moon. We have that moon this month is the Capricorn moon. And if you watched my Rebirth year ahead video, um, I went into the whole year and the different themes of emergence, and I also created and included a special um, transit guide, which you can download it on my website. There's a link to the Rebirth video and the download for this. This has all of the transits for the year ahead. So if you want to have a little reference guide, this is totally free to you. January 1st, Mercury station direct. And I talked in the week ahead video about the last quarter moon that's happening this week. That's a powerful thing. So watch that. Mars also enters Capricorn. And then next week, we have the new moon in Capricorn. So every month I do a monthly new moon ceremony. It's included as a part of my evolution student membership. And you can sign up for that. It's just $15 a month. It includes all of the recordings. And this year I'll be teaching very specifically on the evolution that happens through the emotional body of each particular moon. So we'll be focusing this month on the moon in Capricorn and how the Capricorn moon emotional body evolves. And we'll also be doing a new moon ceremony. If you join me for that, if you need financial assistance in order to be able to join me, you can use the coupon code SELF-LOVE to sign up for that at a discount and just join me freely. Juno stations retrograde. She's been traveling through the sign of Virgo. And so a lot of that is really looking at the discernment in our commitments. That can be, and commitments happen all the time. They're not just in marriage, although marriage is the core commitment that Juno reflects. But commitments happen in our agreements, in our financial agreements, like a financial contract. Marriage is a financial contract, essentially, at least in our culture, how it's been, in the 1700s in colonial United States, the marriage laws were written specifically and included race. There's, you know, the seeds of racism essentially came in through the marriage contract. So it's a very deep and loaded thing that I think in the scope of the larger Capricorn evolution, we're going to be looking at how we do relationship and what we do with relationship and how deeply it matters to the structure of our life. Not only marriage, but all other financial arrangements. That can be business contracts. That can be, business relationships. That can be family contracts and family relationships. Mercury enters Capricorn on January 13th. That will not mark the completion of the Mercury shadow, but it will mark the midpoint. If you remember back on the solstice, and I did a special video for the solstice, when the sun entered 0 degrees Capricorn, Mercury made its midpoint retrograde conjunction, what they call the cazimi, which is in the heart of. So this will mark the middle or the heart of the resolution period for Mercury, the direct phase, while it's still in its shadow. This is really important and a critical turning point for finally moving forward and integrating some of the changes that were necessary during the Mercury Capricorn phase. And then we have Saturn semi-square to the nodes. You know, Saturn's been working through Pisces and really inviting us to our own discipline. Even the word discipline, disciple, what it really means is to learn, to be devoted to be in service to our higher learning, the calling of our soul. And we do that with, right, the higher learning, the calling of the soul, with our will and our desire and our attention being all pointed in the same direction, right? Wherever we've been sort of in conflicting places, where some of us is here and some of us is there, there's little tolerance for that in the movement forward of the new year. It's really inviting us to let go of where we've been trying and not making it, and be more where in the actual alignment to where we are and what's calling us. January 20th, the sun enters Aquarius at 0 degrees, and then Pluto enters Aquarius. And what's interesting about that, so the sun makes a Baslamic conjunction to Pluto at the 29 degrees of Capricorn. I think that happened just the day before. Let me go back. On the 19th. And that will be, you know, the last time the sun conjoins to Pluto in Capricorn ever for our lives, for our lifetime, in, you know, in these souls and these physical bodies. A part of what happens before that at some point in the month, and I will tune into this every month on the, you know, the monthly is just a light overview, and then we'll go through each week on the week ahead. So feel free to join me there. The sun, when it gets to about 19 degrees Capricorn, will square the nodal axis. And that, I think, will be a very particular time. But if you look, let me just share this with you. If you look at what happens here when the sun gets to 29 degrees Capricorn, the moon is in Taurus with Uranus, right? At 19 degrees, sextile to the north node. Really, this is a liberation energy. This is saying, the message I got when I just was meditating before starting this video, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And if you do new, you'll get new. If you do you, you'll get new. If you do you, you'll get new. Meaning, if you invest in the energy that is breaking apart the status quo, you know, moving towards the deeper desires, if you do it from you, from your soul, from the seat of the soul. In one of the earlier videos this week, I was talking about, you know, desire and cooperation with source. You're wanting to reunite with your source, right? If you do you and you do new, you'll get new. You'll get growth. You'll get movement, right? Everything is direct now at this point, except for Uranus. So that does say that on some deeper level, we have yet to really fully embark into the unknown. And when I broke up this year, especially beginning in March with Rebirth, the sense that I got is there are 3 stages of evolution, right? There is the caterpillar phase, which marks the known and familiar, that which we are safe and comfortable in. There is the cocoon phase, which is the dissolving process, which is a really deep and internalized process of letting go, of disillusionment. There is the emergence phase, which is the butterfly, expanding its wings, becoming new and emerging from the cocoon, transformed. that whole process, those 3 stages are the transmutation of power, of the power of source. Each one of those phases is deeply connected to its source. The caterpillar is connected to the earth, to the ground, to the source from which it comes. It relies upon the sustenance of life. The cocoon requires the hermiting, the being inside. It is deeply connected to the source, that which is dissolving it and that which is becoming from within. And the emergence, the new life, it is entirely rooted in the new, in the unknown, in the becoming of what we've become. Right? So as Pluto then moves into Aquarius, right after this Sun Pluto conjunction with Aquarius Sun, I think, like, and also the moon will be in Gemini by then, moving towards an opposition with Venus. We've got some, good energy for embarkation, right? Embarking into the new. We've got potentially at this point a lot clearer vision about what we value, about who we want to become in this year. If we've used our time in these first 20 days of the year to really caterpillar it out, you're going to get what you get if you do what you've done. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got, right? And that's not what we're here to get. We're here to get evolution. We're here to get the new in our beings. And this first phase of the year is very much it's a backwards thing. I know it is an emergence into that new so that we can become over the course of this year in ways, and we'll go back to the past. Pluto will go back to Capricorn, planets will go retrograde, we'll retrace our steps, but we never go back without bringing all of who we are now forward, without having, once you know something, you can't unknow it. And that's just kind of how it goes. When we continue on the rest of this month, I just want to share the rest of the month with you. Venus enters Capricorn on January 23rd. She'll be moving towards her conjunction with Mars, but they've been having a little bit of time in the same sign, basically on the same track, but not together. All in Baslamic phase to one another. Mars is the slower moving planet. Venus is the faster moving planet. So when you're tracking phases, you're looking at who's, catching up to who. Pluto's obviously the slower moving planet. The sun is the faster moving planet, right? So that's how you can look at the phases as they move throughout. And if you want to learn more with me, I did a master class called Planetary Dances, which really covered a lot of this. There's a free class on the Jeffrey Wolf Green Association channel, which went into aspects and phases as a part of our Planetary Pairs class series. There's a lot of free information out there on the aspects and phases. I follow them as taught by Jeffrey Wolf Green. That's what I teach and what I reference. Then later on this month, we have the full moon in Leo on January 25th. That full moon, Leo is about identity. Leo, the Aquarius, Leo access. This is an identity structure access. And so this full moon in early Leo is really marking some of this emergence of the new identity, that butterfly identity. Uranus stations direct on January 27th, finally moving us into a phase of evolution where all planets are direct. So beyond this point, and if you look at this Uranus direct, it's a very interesting time in the month, because in addition to Uranus being direct, we have Mercury direct, cleared its shadow, Mercury, Mars, and Venus all in Capricorn. This is very industrious. It's very liberating. It's saying, okay, all that stuck energy that we might have been working with, all the places where we've been sort of hampered down, maybe by some of the emotional, physical, financial challenges that we faced in the last year. Like all of that can be released into forward movement and energy. And this month really gives us the chance to ground that by the time the moon gets around to where it is right now, right? Virgo moon coming around to Virgo moon. I'm tracking always with the lunar phases. Um, and that's a big reason why I focus on doing the new moon ceremony. We track with the new light, the fresh light. We work with following her on the week ahead by following the lunar energy because she's the fastest moving body in the sky. So she's most indicative of the emotional and evolutionary changes that are happening in our life and through us and through our feeling body and through our expression and through our ego and through our identity. Our identity evolves through the emotional body as well. And that's how we end the month, really, is in this movement of evolution. We get back into the moon in its last conjunction to the south node here, opposing this Chiron, right? So whenever the moon opposes Chiron, we have, we have this, the opposition is a full phase energy. It's being able to see, and it is the bridge to evolution, right? And if evolution is happening through the emotional body, what do we need to see in our relationships where we are being triggered, where we are challenged to actually be able to do the healing inner, on an interpersonal level, and to do the healing relationally, to ground the relationships, to ground the ways of being together into a new way. Because once the moon crosses the south node, it will square Mars. Before the moon crosses the south node, it will square Venus, right? So there's a dance, right? Men and women, people, human beings, these masculine and feminine energies, regardless of your gender identity, regardless of your sexual orientation, the Mars and Venus is present in everyone's chart. So these natural polarities, these natural expressions happen within us and also are challenged externally by identity structures, by the way that we see ourselves, by the way that others see us, by the way that we're in relationship. And a lot of it is very formative, right? Capricorn, Cancer, mother, father, primary foundations of life. Aries, Libra, also primary. These are cardinal accesses. So when we see squares to the cardinal cross or squares to the nodal axis, we can know that something on a deeper evolutionary basis is being resolved. In this case, so the resolution for Mars would be the last node that it conjoined to. Here would be South Node Libra. You might look back and see when Mars was on the South Node. If you're thinking back, it was back in October, when the war in Gaza, between Israel, Palestine, Hamas, all the right, the polarities got activated very deeply. The deep chironic wound of the past relative to that war, that was a repetition of the 50-year war, the Yom Kippur War. It was also bringing back the deep pain of Israel relative to that, and also bringing back the deep pain of the Palestinians. I've seen many different conversations, oppositions, it's been very challenging for people to find their way with themselves, with their feelings, with what's happening. And there have been crises of consciousness that have been triggered out of that. That's a great example. So here with Mars squaring the nodes, squaring Chiron in these days, and then following by Venus, who's the ruler of the South Node. In February, she will move through and square. There will be things that happen to, right, whenever we face a crisis of consciousness, adjustments have to be made in order for us to move in. And the resolution node for both Mars, Venus, and Pluto is that South Node in Libra. So one of the messages I received in my New Year's Eve ceremony was, defend your peace at all costs. It's the only thing that you need to protect. And what is that message? It's an important reflection of where we get triggered, where we want to pull into feelings of separation, war, where our resistance to evolution pulls us towards separation, wherever the mind gets then caught up in fear, isolation, jadedness, distrust, anger. We have to protect our peace of mind, protect our peace inside of our body, protect our nervous system peace, protect our self-regulation, our emotional regulation. And this may need to happen through emotional release, emotional discharge, emotional integration, emotional expression. It may need to happen through having pathways to being able to feel, express, be honest about, cultivating those relationships, pathways, places where we can be honest and speak truth. But it may also need to happen through individual solo time. It may need to happen through inviting new relationships into our life where we can get needs met, core needs met. It may need to happen through creative exploration, through channeling our vision into something that we can create. I'm looking at a painting in my studio that was my work in progress throughout this whole year. And it has been a way for me to channel emotional energy, both good and bad, bad seeming like, right? No judgment. It has been a way for me to channel my heart and my soul and the process that I've been in, finding these things and anchoring these things through our own empowerment, right? Pluto speaks to our power. The power here in the polarity point switches from Cancer, our vulnerability, our nourishment, care, and protection, to Leo, our self-expression, creative self-expression. I'm joining my painting teacher, Shiloh Sophia, in her core offering at the beginning of this year, Temple, which is about erotic empowerment and the empowerment of our pleasure through art and creation. That is my, stepping into my power is to really creating. I'm stepping into rebirth, which is my core offering and container for this next 12 months devoted to Pluto. We're going to be learning about Pluto squaring the nodes, planets squaring the nodes, nodes and karmic dynamics in relationships, karmic relational signatures between parents and children, intimate partners. We're going to be diving deeper into evolution through the emotional body. Rebirth is the place to work with me throughout the year. I also bring it in to everything that I do so that you can join me in evolution, which is my basic offering of a monthly new moon ceremony. We're going to be talking about the moon and evolving through the emotional body. You can join me on the week ahead here, which will be offered freely. I'll be offering this monthly recap of the full listing of the transits each month, so you can just get a sense of what's happening and translate this into your own life. Every quarter, I'll be offering a masterclass. My masterclass for January is creating through your own chart, using your own personal chart to have intentional creation and practices with that manifestation, whatever you want to however you want to think about that. Um, I'll be also journeying to France. So if you're in France or if you're in Europe, I have 2 opportunities to join me for a private retreat this during this France trip in February. There are details for that in the description of this video. Yeah, there are so many ways for us to journey together, but the reality is no matter which way you choose to be with me, we are all in this together. We are all evolving together. And the way that we, each and every one of us evolve impacts each and every one of us on this planet. So my prayer is for you to know yourself as the love that you are, as I learn and become and know myself as the love that I am. And thank you so much for listening. I hope that this blessed you. I look forward to seeing you in one of my class containers or hearing your comments here on the video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me to grow in the way that I am growing here and continue to share this with others. Thank you so much for being with me, and bye for now.